Right, so just kind of give us a run through, I suppose, of the process of creation.
Well, at the moment, I have to confess my mind is a bit blank, but...
Okay, so you draw me as the druid then. I'm right in front of you.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, first of all, if you don't mind, I'll show you what it isn't. See, what tends to happen when you're learning to draw, can you see this page?
I certainly can. I'm not sure about the
Okay.
camera, but I'm about to find out.
Okay, maybe I should...
No, keep going, just keep going,
See,
keep doing what you're doing.
When you're learning to draw, you tend to learn... Well, I'll do a face. You tend to learn that... I'm actually starting to forget these rules, which makes me delighted. That the eyes are in the middle of the head. You draw this line and you put the eyes in the middle of the head, which actually, I actually believe they're actually not in the middle of the head. I believe this own area here, from my own observation, is actually the middle of the head. But anyway, and the eyes are oval shaped. And then you would draw a line between eye line and, well, brow line and nose line. And there's your nose, and then you would draw your mouth, and then you'd sort of, the ears come between this line, this is what we're told now, And then you've got your jawline. I forget where the jawline comes up. Yeah, it comes about there across from the mouth. And then the hair should never... A mistake people make, they draw the hair and they forget that the hair stands up from the head. And you get something like that. Now, the problem I find with this kind of method is that you're all the time thinking about these rules. So you want to draw somebody from the side and you draw this circle again and you're trying to remember all this, and it's fine for certain disciplines, but I think if I'm thinking of the druid, like you say, I would sort of see, I'm seeing actually Gandalf from The Lord of the Rings, and I sort of see him sort of sitting in a throne. Now the first thing that's springing to my mind is a hand in forward perspective. This hand on the edge of a sort of those wooden seat. Now bear with me now, this, as I said, this process is slow, and I rely a lot on sort of the mood I'm in, and if the mood goes off me, I leave it there and come back. So I can sort of see this, and I can see a sandal sort of here. I see some sort of those staffs that they use. Those I don't know. There's a goat's head or whatever here, and sort of getting you can see it sort of evolved there. Now, at this moment in time, I actually want to tear this picture up and say, yeah, well, I have something, but it hasn't fallen on the page right. And I would probably take that image and I think you might actually be able to see what I'm raving about. You can kind of see the way I'm trying to disobey rules, and I'm trying to, I can kind of see a cheekbone in my mind's eye, and I can see the way with a moustache you lose, you can kind of see, and then See, that goes on top of that. And another interesting sort of process is to sort of work in a negative. You sort of do that. And you get a gizmo like this. And sort of, in other words, the pencil is already on the paper, but you have to move it around a bit. Actually, when I was working on the book, I found that I would do this, and I would highlight with the eraser, and in the course of the work being shoved here, there and everywhere, all the highlights would disappear and you just get mainly smudge, but it still worked. But I'm using software now to restore the work back to now. I would probably stop now at this point, and I'd change this image. I would make it bigger, but I'm going to just persevere with it. See these, I love these pencils. I must get some more. I get these, they're $1.99 in Eason's. But you don't have to sharpen them, and they stay, yeah, kind of. And here's my man. And I'll just jump over here. What do I see? I see ram's horns. I'm deliberately keeping this loose. I'm deliberately not trying to... See, I could draw a circle for the ram's head, and then I imagine his skull, and I draw... Now the problem is, when I draw like in the formalised way, I'm referring to rules inside my head. Whereas where I'm drawing, this is only a new process I've started in the past few years, that when I draw this way, I refer to images. I'm trying to refer to images inside my head. The image, and as it would evolve. And I think this process would liberate a lot of people, that they don't have to. Everybody has an imagination, and you can start with anything. If you want to draw anything, you put something on the page, and then adjust it. Adjust it as you go. You don't have to even know what it's going to be. Just follow what your mind sort of tells you. This hand now. I know that this finger, I can see, more to the point, I can see in my mind eye that this finger tends to be heavy, thicker than the next finger, tends to be heavier than the next finger. And I can see now that hand, I'm falling back into rules and regulations. It's not relaxed enough. So I'll have to stop now, because normally I would stop now. Now, with regards this subject here, the last time I started a drawing of this subject, my plan was that I would start with a blank page and the viewer would see the processes as it evolved. The problem with that was, as I was drawing the picture, I started to take photographs of the picture from an ordinary bog standard camera phone, but I found it was completely and utterly destroying the flow of what I was trying to do. So I have a few dodgy old pictures, I could show them, but maybe what I'm trying to say is I'd nearly find it impossible to show this process unless the camera was above the work and I could work away without being aware of the camera. I find it next to impossible to talk about my work, which some people have no problem doing. I find it very hard to do that. But anyway, I had intended anyway, when I started to draw the last one, to make it bigger. Even at the time, had I had a short while longer here, I would have moved to this sort of size. That's what came to me at the time. Now, I thought of Gandalf. There was 3 comics. There was my good friend Will Nugent, Gandalf and the Big Lebowski. And I was trying to sort of put together this sort of composite character. So I went to my good friend Google and I came up with this. I think this is a great pose here, the wistful eyes, and but I didn't like it because he was looking straight at the camera. Okay. Now the hat, you can see that. What I'm trying to do here is show the various elements that were in my mind when I made this picture. So I kind of, I liked the hat, and I liked maybe more serious pose, and I wanted a seating position. These are, you go Google image of thousands of images, and these are the pictures that I picked out to sort of capture. Now here's the Big Lebowski. I thought that would have been a great pose, but it strayed too much from the other 2 characters. This is great. This is fantastic. I think this is a fantastic picture, and I made a start. You see it here. This is, in some ways, would have been maybe more successful. This is a derivative of this picture, and this has the other 2 elements in it. But for some reason, I didn't want to caricature or ridicule any of the subjects either. Strange, I think they have a certain truth to them, so I didn't want to do that. So I wanted a little more. I came across this as a bingo. And the reason I like this picture, even though it's crap to draw from because it's so small, but the reason I like this picture is something interesting in human beings, is that they're much more interesting when they're focusing on something or someone else. They're looking out from themselves. I don't know why. The most boring pictures in the world are 99.9999% of all photographs, which is the subject in his best Sunday suit looking straight at the camera. They're awful. This, I think, the subject is looking away from himself and thinking about something else. And in that moment, you capture the subject. So this is the picture I started from. Can I make it any bigger? I probably did when I was drawing from it. Gets blurred, but there you go. And this is where I got this. So you can see hopefully you can see the lightness. You can see the musculature of the face. You can see that distance. I would hope you can see the distance of somebody not being quite in the picture but thinking about something else. So I took that, and will this work? Yeah, there's more facial studies, we'll call them. This logo I started to roughly work on for an embellishment of the picture, and these, they record. This is great. It shows the images I was drawn from. It's probably better than I thought it would be. See the hat, it's sort of. Now I put the raven in to put a kind, so it's not the ridicule. I put the raven in to put a kind of little bit of gravitas into the picture. I don't want to. I didn't want to kind of make a fool out of the subject, which you could very easily do in this subject where you but that's the last thing I wanted to do. So there, look, this is the detail. I couldn't think in my mind's eye, what does a plait or a ponytail actually look like? They were upside down, and so I just basically got it, and you can see there, which is amazing when you are, like I found in the graphic novel, the simplest thing, you start to think, what does a rifle look like? Where does it come up to on a man's body? Does it come up to the waist, or And you can be very surprised, but when you see an actual photograph of something that you're looking at all your life, and you don't actually take it in till you stop to study it. Another interesting subject matter is hands. And I often heard artists say they could be drawing a figure, and 3/4 of the time they spend trying to get the hands right. The irony being, they're right there in front of us all day, every day, and yet they're so hard to draw. But anyway, Platt's Viking, more what I wanted, the sort of Viking look. That's old stuff. I use this footage from my book. Anyway, there was something else. Oh yeah, this is unreal. This, when I really started to draw this stick, I had intended to put a ram with circular horns, and I thought, oh no, he wouldn't have a stick like that. That's too good to be true. I thought I'll make it a bit more abstract, and I'll just sort of make it this thing, interpretive kind of a shape here, and maybe slightly a snake or whatever, and a bit more organic. But anyway, when I came into Will's house this morning, I looked at his umbrella stand, that's what you want to call it, and by a very strange coincidence, he does have a stick like this. And I swear to you, I didn't know he had a stick like this. So you talk about live imitator art. This is the stick that I visualised in my mind's eye, and I didn't even know he possessed a stick like this. So go figure.